Hi! This time I wanted to talk about the mysterious legacy of Dave Arneson. I think that a lot of people, perhaps a lot of RPG enthusiasts, just focus on the Blackmoor legacy, on his thematic and mechanical influence when it comes to running the game. But even so, I don't think they look deeply enough, intricately enough, to fully grasp the true legacy that we were bestowed upon by Dave Arneson. Looking back at my beginnings, I have told this in another video. I was a terrible I wasn't even a role player when I first started using the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons Second Edition box set. They don't teach you anything about role playing. They focus completely on the game side. It was only about a year and a half or 2 years after that when I went to Texas. Actually mentioned this in my conversation with Rick. I'm going to put the link in the description. So I went to Texas and I saw this game master running a game, and he blew my mind because he wasn't asking what do you do. His players were actually role playing. They were describing their characters' actions. They were playing in Faerun, Forgotten Realms, and that's like my huge eye opener. It also makes me think, is it possible to have like a mentor, even if you only saw that person for a day and that person wasn't actually teaching you anything directly? Is it possible for you, for me in that case, to consider him like my spiritual RPG mentor? I think it is possible. It is acceptable because there could be people that have certain mastery that just by looking at them doing something and you learn so many things from them. I think that could be considered like mentorship. I still needed several years, many years I would say, to achieve a certain, if not perfection, a greater understanding, at least compared to my previous understanding of a tabletop RPG. So I think that's the true secret of Dave Arneson's legacy. I wonder, does that game master, did that game master ever play with Dave Arneson? Or did he play with someone who had played with Dave Arneson? And that's how the baton was passed. That knowledge of actual roleplay. If some of you haven't seen my recent session, my actual play with C4 Crispy and Full Metal State, I'm going to put the link in the description. Yes, it's so fascinating to try to understand if that was the case. Because we talked about I told them, you can blame the what do you do thing on Gary Gygax. We talked about that after the session. But it's thanks to Dave Arneson that we have the concept of role playing. Because some people could be thinking, no, it's because of the role playing games that came after Dungeons and Dragons. There are many people that play those role-playing games and they are not role-playing. They are playing a mother may I... They are having a mother may I conversation, or they are just focused on the game. They do not, achieve that fusion or symbiosis between game and roleplay. So it really gets me thinking. I wonder, there must be someone, probably someone that is still alive, that has played with Dave Arneson, that played with Dave Arneson before he passed away. So, obviously. So I kind of wonder if they could offer us some clues as to the way that Dave Arneson ran things. Perhaps if they mention some other things about the roleplay that he was applying, because he was also about immersion. I have mentioned this before. There is a particular moment in one of his early games where he told the players at his table to stand up and go into a dark area of his basement. They were playing in the basement, and then he told them to, yes, he turned off the lights, he told them to close their eyes, and then he yelled at the top of his lungs. He was like a full cacophonous yell, and they all they got startled, and because they were standing in a particular way, they, because of the scare, the jump scare, they shifted position, and then Dave Arneson told them to stop, and that was the way that they were going to have the formation or combat arrangement during a particular battle. So it was obvious that Dave Arneson really wanted to create some sort of immersion. That situation is a one-trick pony. It only works once, because every time you're going to be telling your players to stand up, they are going to expect some sort of scare to see where they end up positioned. But that's amazing for a single time. So this video is all about that. It's just about making me think about Dave Arneson's true legacy of actual roleplay, and the way that he wasn't limited or restrained by the rules. There wasn't a single encounter that felt the same, because he was always applying different subsystems for each encounter, almost on the fly, as I understand it. I think that is vital. The rules are there to support you, they are not there to shackle you. Truly, if you watch our actual play, you can see that C4 Crispy and Full Metal State, not one of them ever addressed me directly. As I have mentioned in another video, the Dungeon Master or the Game Master doesn't exist in the game world. They were never asking questions. That should be a challenge. In fact, I dare you to go to that video and find a single instance where they ask me some question directly. Not to the Game Master, not to any being in the game world. They were never asking questions to me. Everything was discovered through roleplay. And you will also never see me in that session, and in any session, asking the players, what do you do? I had that little joke at the start, making fun of that, when the non-player character, Old Man Chandris, put his hands on their shoulders, and he was like, what do you do? That was like my mocking way, my little joke against the what do you do question. So yes, this is all about like more like food for thought. I wonder if that's how the true role players benefited from Dave Arneson's legacy. Maybe, like I said, it's some sort of baton that was passed along through different players until it reached us in some way. In my case, that Game Master in Texas. How did he learn to actually roleplay a tabletop role-playing game? I am quite curious about that. Sadly, I didn't speak to him. I just saw him running the game, and I was very young. I wasn't as as communicative. I was a bit shy, and I was just staying at the mall for about an hour and a half. So I don't know if the game probably lasted for an hour or more. So I would have had to have stayed for perhaps a couple of hours or more in order for me to approach him and ask him, hey, how did you learn to do that? Everything that you have been doing goes against what I have read in tabletop role-playing games and all of that. So yes, I hope you found this video entertaining. I would also like to know your thoughts on this. Do you think that players in general just figured things out? Or it was this sort of ancient knowledge from Dave Arneson that was passed down and it eventually reached us in some way? Once again, thank you for watching my videos, thank you for your likes and your comments, and thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. And remember, it is better to roleplay and fail in character than not to roleplay and fail as a player. Once again, thank you, and see you later.